Motor Warriors. You know, I went to the post office box and there was a flyer in there from some health thing, something or other in Nashville. I just kind of glanced at it, and it was something about how now that COVID is winding down, we realize that there can be post-traumatic stress from the COVID, you know, whatever. But anyway, this whole nonsense with the coronavirus and whatever, people just made it political and it blew up out of proportions. And, you know, does it have the potential to be dangerous? Well, yeah, you know, the flu does. And I mean, you know, there's been people who actually died from rhinoviruses, which is what, you know, the kind of virus that causes the common cold. So if you're going to live your life in fear, that's a waste of your life. But this whole thing about the flyer, it was saying about how, you know, this whole corona pandemic can cause irritability, a loss of sleep, paranoia, frustration, anxiety, and all this other post-traumatic stress crap, like you somehow have been in a combat zone and had, you know, buddies getting shot right next to you. You know what I mean? And it's insane. There's like now a clinic that is dealing with people who claim to have post-traumatic stress because of the corona nonsense from China. And that just really gets me. You know, it's like, and this whole thing that all the lies and junk from Fauci, and then we find out that he's actually, you know, behind the Wuhan lab that released this thing. And I'm sure it was an accident. I don't really think that anybody did it on purpose. But, you know, either way, that's where it came from. And, you know, Fauci is kind of trying to cover it up and everything. And then we find out that he has connections, and Google had, you know, money in this thing. And it's like, you know, the whole thing is just a bunch of nonsense. And why people aren't outraged, it just really, oh man. You know, when are we going to stand up and say enough of this crap is enough? Why should, you know, a handful of nuts run the entire nation when the rest of us, you know, are sane? Yeah, well, until they go to public schools, then they turn out to be just as nutty. But, you know, this whole, you know, 1 mask, no mask, 2 masks, 3 masks. I feel like I'm, you know, it feels like a Dr. Seuss book, you know, 1 fish, 2 fish, green fish, blue fish, or whatever that was. And, you know, 1 mask, no mask, 2 mask, 3 mask. It's like, man, you know, wearing 3 masks, how are you even supposed to breathe like that? I mean, if that's the case, if people are that paranoid, I got a good solution for every one of them. Take a plastic bag and tie it securely around your head. And then you won't get infected and you won't infect anybody else. How about that? Let's see how well that works. I mean, wow, what a bunch of nonsense. A clinic dealing with people with post-traumatic stress because of the pandemic. Wow. You know, grab your boots and strap them on, grow up, and act like an adult, not a whiny little child that's spoiled because it always gets its way on everything it cries about. Man. But anyway, Motor Warriors, that's my little rant. And I don't know, you never know if I'll post this or not, and if I do, you don't know if it's even going to stay up, because Google Tube might deem it offensive and non-scientific, even though I have my graduate research was in airborne pathogens, so I know some stuff about this stuff. And but anything they oppose, they block, they ban, they cancel. And yeah, that's what communists do, though, isn't it? They take away the weaponry or the guns to be able to fight back and resist their corruption and their evil ways. They disarm the people. And then any opposing view, communism blocks that view, so that the only thing you are allowed to hear over and over and over and over is what they want you to hear. And that's pretty much what's going on in America today. You know, you put out a video they don't like, it's shut down or demonetized. You do it, you know, too much, and they'll just block your channel and take you off the, thing anyway. And then they still claim they're a platform. A platform, for those of you that don't understand the difference between a platform and a publisher, a platform is like the electric company or the phone company. When you pay your phone bill, they don't care if you're calling somebody on the other side of the planet. They don't care if you're setting up plans to rob a bank. They don't care if you are calling your, honey on the side, or your, your boyfriend's brother or whatever. You know what I mean? They don't really care. You pay your bill and they provide the service. That's a platform. The electric company is a platform. You pay your electric bill. They don't care if you're using the electricity to light up a crack house. They don't care if you're using it to, put lights on marijuana plants in your basement and grow a bunch of high-level THC plants. They don't care. You pay your bill and the power stays on. Well, that's what a platform is. So if Twitter and along with that, there are tax breaks and many, many benefits that they get as being a platform. Platforms get a lot of different breaks, whereas publishers don't. And Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and whatever, they have demonetized and blocked and totally shut down channels simply because they didn't like their political views. Now, if people are making death threats and calling for somebody to go kill a certain person, and they're willing to pay, and whatever, like a contract on your life for hire type of thing, if people were doing that, then I can understand, because people's lives are at stake. But if all you're doing is giving a different view that they don't like, and they shut you down, then they're choosing what they will allow to be on their site. That makes them a publisher, because it's like they are publishing what they want to publish. Publishers, like if you write a book and you send it to a publisher, they're not required to print it. They're not required to publish it, because if it doesn't fit their criteria of the kind of work that they publish, they don't have to. They can pick and choose what they publish. And rightfully so. I mean, if you specialize in kids' books and somebody says, hey, I want to print a pornography book, and then you're going to have to publish it, well, that could ruin their reputation, as a children's book publisher. So that I understand. A publisher should should have the right to do that. But because they're a publisher, they lose certain aspects. Platforms get a lot of benefits that publishers don't. So YouTube and Google and Twitter and Facebook and all these other places like these social media sites, they claim that they're platforms because they're providing a service to anybody. The only thing is that once you start banning people because you don't like their political views, once you start blocking them and canceling what they're saying simply because you disagree with them politically, and that's basically what's been going on. When you ban and block a seated president like they did to President Trump, that kind of tells you where these people are at. And that's exactly what communists would do. They would ban, they would block, they would harass, they will shut you down any way they can, because all they want is their view, which in the case of like China is communism. But anyway, so the whole point is that all these places claim to be platforms, but when they pick and choose, they become publishers, and they should lose that platform status and not get all those benefits that they would get if they were truly a platform. And that's one of the things President Trump wanted to do, and would have likely have had happen had he stayed in the White House like he should have, had they not stolen the election. Which, if you have seen any of the clips, and anybody with a lick of God-given sense is going to realize that Biden and his people stole the election. It is all mail-in ballots that were hidden under tables and stuff like that, ballots that came in after the deadline had ended. That if it would have been, Trump's votes that came in on mail-in ballots after the deadline, they would have rejected it. Well, with Biden, they all ranted and raved and wanted to keep it, and all these liberal judges didn't have the backbone to, oppose it, and it's kind of sad. But anyway, Motor Warriors, thanks for watching, and until next time, live your life with the heart of a Viking warrior. Bye for now.